Welcome back, everybody. So my next movie review for you is a classic, and it is the original Hitcher movie. So The Hitcher is a 1986 movie directed by Robert Harmon, starring Rutger Hauer, C. Thomas Howell, Jennifer Jason Leigh, plus many others. So in this movie, we follow a character called Jim Horsley as he picks up a hitchhiker in the name of John Ryder, who claims he is a serial killer. So this movie is absolutely brilliant in every single way, with probably one of the most simplest plot lines ever. And I can imagine that the kind of pitch for this is like, okay then boys, we've got this movie, we need to think of a plot line. Serial killer, a young kid picks up the serial killer as a hitchhiker. This guy terrorizes this young kid's life throughout the whole of this movie. A lot of suspenseful, creepy, a lot of murder, a lot of blood. Let's see how it goes. And it plays out to be one of the best movies ever made, in my personal opinion. It is such a simple plot line, but with maximum effect throughout the whole of this movie, okay? It really, really is. I love this movie from start to finish. No CGI, nothing. All basic filmmaking, kind of techniques, and it just works, and it works well. You do that and add in some absolutely fantastic performances from the two main characters in this, and it just makes for a very, very entertaining watch. Now, Rutger Hauer, I do struggle saying his name. His performance in this movie is absolutely fantastic, okay? If you watch him throughout the whole of this movie, there is no emotion in any way, shape or form on his face. In any way. To me, there's a little bit of emotion in certain areas, but a majority of it, you're just going, no, it's a completely blank face. This guy is fucked up. And you can see it, and it's just good acting, in my personal opinion, because there's nothing there. He plays a very convincing role. He does not care on who he kills in any way, shape, or form. It's a complete and cold-hearted, brutal killer, and it's played fantastically in every single way. You can argue with me with that fact as much as you like, but in my personal opinion, you look at his face throughout the whole of this movie, there is just nothing there, it's blank. And it's just so convincing. And he's got no motivation in this movie. There is no motivation in any way, shape or form, apart from, well, why not? I can kill people, so I'm going to kill people. Why the hell not? It's as simple as that. I have no remorse. I just don't care. And it just makes it really, really interesting. Seeing Thomas Howell's character, however you say his name, Jim Horsley. Again, he's absolutely fantastic because he gets basically thrown into a meat grinder throughout the whole of this movie. There's a lot of emotion, there's a lot of tension, it's a lot of things he has to deal with, and I think he performs this really, really well. And especially towards the end of the movie, there's this really, really great scene. It's a very gradual progression of how he has to deal with it and all the trauma that he has to go through, and the fact that the trauma that he's had to go through leads him to this certain point at the end of the movie, just which makes it even more interesting. It just makes it just that kind of very fitting end to this movie. Not going to give away any spoilers just in case you haven't seen it, but throughout the whole of this movie, that whole amount of trauma that he had to go through just finally gets him to this point where he has to kind of let it all out. And I just think it works really, really well. And those two performances, those two characters on screen as well, their chemistry in certain ways, especially towards the end of the movie when they're in the police cells and there's a great scene in the diner, and the chemistry between them, it almost in a certain way felt to me like it's like father and son, but the father done something so bad to the son, it's like, fuck you, dad, fuck you, towards the end of that movie. And it's a great scene in the police cell as well, which you kind of see that. It's just that kind of realization. It's like, you're a dick kind of thing, and I'm not finished with you in any way, shape or form. It's just that kind of feel, it's like, fuck you kind of thing. That's basically what I get, this is what I feel from this. There is some great scenes in this movie. There is some very suspenseful, creepy moments as well throughout the whole of this movie. I just generally love the way that this is put together. And like I said, it's a very, very simple plot line which works with a very, very strong effect. Okay, now I've said this in past movie reviews, is that the movies done in the 80s, 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s, they're the kind of like the original ideas for a lot of the movies that have come out now. And it's just so simple. There's no twists, there's no turns as such. It's just a simple plot line. You kind of do know how this is going to progress and how this is going to end, but it's just simple storytelling. It's a simple movie, but it works with a very strong effect. And if I was to give this a rating, it would be a very, very strong 10 out of 10. It's one of my favourite films of all time, to be fair. And I'm not a huge horror fan, I have to be honest with you, but if I was to watch any kind of horror movie first, it would be this movie. It's that simple, because that's just the amount of enjoyment I get from watching this. The chemistry of the two main characters on screen is absolutely fantastic. The way that this movie feels is absolutely fantastic. There's no CGI. It's all, good old-fashioned filmmaking just that makes it such an entertaining watch for me. And that's the reason why I have to give this a 10 out of 10. It's one of my favourite films of all time. It's as simple as that. So on that note, please, what you think, put it in the comments down below as normal. Hope you all have a great rest of the day, whatever you're doing. Please take care and goodbye.